welcome back to another video, you guys. Today we're going to talk about essential gear that you need for Euro nymphing. Okay, this is gear that I carry with me on my person in my bag at all times. Nothing on this list is anything that you can't fit in a small hip pack, and so I guess that's a good place to start. The first place to start in this list is a pack. Okay, I don't care if it's a chest pack or if it's a hip pack like I have, or if it's a sling or a backpack, whatever that is that whatever that is that you feel most comfortable with, you need to have that in order to put all of your stuff in it. It seems pretty obvious, but that's the first thing that I think you kind of need. The next thing on the list is tippet material, okay? I use only fluorocarbon tippet material when I'm Euro nymphing. You don't have to use just fluoro, but I find its abrasion resistance and its sink rate help a bunch when you're Euro nymphing, okay? Nylon is a lot cheaper, and so I understand the appeal to use nylon, but I find that when I started out, I was using nylon, and I just found that nylon, I would go through it so fast, okay? And so if you just pony up the money for the fluorocarbon, it lasts a lot longer and you end up going through less of it. At least I do personally. So that's the next thing on the list that I think you need for Euro nymphing. Okay, the next thing on the list is pretty obvious, but that's flies. And when I say flies, I mean tungsten beaded flies, okay? You need a variety of 4mm, 3.5, 3mm, and 2.5mm sizes. You don't have to have all of those. Those are just the sizes that I carry, and I have kind of a spot in my box, a page dedicated to 4, 3.5, 3, and 2.5. And that's how I keep them organized. And then if I, need to switch sizes because the water dictates, I will just jump down. I'll jump to that page, and it's really obvious which page that is because they're all organized that way. But it is important that you have tungsten beaded flies because that is what's getting your fly down to where those fish are. It's also worth noting that I will Euro nymph with flies that have basically no weight as well. So you need, it's a good idea to have those as well with you. I carry them with me, but it's not essential. The essential thing is tungsten beaded nymphs for Euro nymphing. So that's the next thing. And you guys are probably like, this is really obvious, why are you telling me this? But I think some people won't know that. Okay, another thing is something that you guys probably already know, but that is cider wax or cider material. I carry it with me all the time. I'll carry the wax because I use it, but I also carry a couple spools of cider material just in case when I'm out here I break an entire rig and I have to retie. I know those rigs, it doesn't happen a lot, maybe every couple months it happens. You'll get a nick in a tippet ring or something like that, and it will, you'll need to replace it while you're on the water. The other thing you can do that I'll do a lot of times is I'll just have some leaders pre-made, and then I can just chop whatever broke off and then tie on that whole new section. But you need to have that with you because you really don't want to run into a situation where you don't have it and then you have to rely on just sight without that aid. So that's another thing that I recommend that you guys have with you at all times, cider material. Okay, I'm gonna stop all this talk about gear real quick and jump in the water here and see if I can find a fish to catch. I'd love to get some fish to show you guys today, so let's jump into that and see if we can find a couple real quick. Okay, here's some good looking pockety water. See if we can find a trout in this. Nice pocket here. I feel like there's got to be a fish in this pocket, in this seam right here. Nothing so far. I know there's fish in this, I'm just not connecting with any. Okay, this little pocket, this has got to have a fish in it. Okay, a new spot. Put the dry dropper back on. I'm gonna run through like this, and then if I don't get a dry fly eat, I will switch. It's a little rainbow on the dropper. Cool fish. Whoa. Just a little guy, but super colored up. Let him go. So pretty. See if we can get another fish here. He was super aggressive. I could actually see that fish swirl in the water and eat my fly. Oh, there was a refusal. I saw that fish. I thought he was going to eat my nymph, but he was coming up to look at my dry. And these fish are all so dark. It's crazy. I mean, that fish is so dark. It's just a little guy, but almost black. Dry fly. There's one on the nymph again. I mean, they're all little, but they are just so dark and cool looking. I mean, just so many spots. The coolest fish you're ever gonna see. They're all fairly little, but man, they're fun. Whoa, whoa. Good fish. Real good fish here. Oh, I gotta keep him from going downstream. I don't want him to break me off. He's trying so hard to go downstream. Okay, I worked him back up. Get him on the reel. Try to keep him above me. This is the best fish so far of the day. Cool fish. You got one. Okay, put on a little different line and a dry fly, and let's just see if you know, a little dry fly will work. This is a cripple emerger, and I just want to see if they'll react to this fly. That's a good fish right there. That ate that. Nice. Whoa. Yeah, getting that net. That's a cool fish right there. See ya. Okay, so this is fun. We're catching fish, having some success. Let's get back to the next tip or essential piece of gear that I think you guys need. Okay, the next thing is sunglasses. It's really bright out here. This protects my eyes. It also keeps me from falling in the water over here. Where's the water? Keeps me from falling in that water right there, you guys, because I can see where I'm walking. And I tend to fall down a lot, and that's why I use a waterproof hip pack, because of the fact that I fall down a lot. These are Sims, these are not Sims, these are Smith sunglasses. I use the Smith ones because I had to get prescription. You know, if you're starting out with this and you want to try some out, I would recommend just like going to your fly shop and getting a cheap pair. You can test out the different color lenses and see what you like best. But these are essential. You can see fish in the water, you can see activity under the water, and you can see where you're walking when you're wading. Okay, the next thing I would have is a buff. Something like that. It covers your face, it covers your ears, your neck. I don't like to carry sunscreen with me, and just having this thing on keeps me from getting sunburnt. It doesn't weigh anything. You throw it in your bag, keep it in there, you won't lose it. I tend to lose sunscreen. Sunscreen can ruin fly line. This is just a better alternative. It's also great in the winter because you can, it'll cover your ears and keep you warm. So, you know, it kind of pulls double duty, and I like it a lot. That's another thing. They're fairly cheap. I don't care, you know, it doesn't really matter what brand you grab. They all kind of work the same. I would recommend going with a darker color, just so you're not spooking fish, and it kind of protects you from the sun a little bit better. So that's the next thing I would recommend, is a buff. Okay, the next thing on the list is a pair of nippers. I use some Sims nippers. Doesn't really matter what brand you use, but I will say it saves your teeth, and it saves time, and that's why I use them. You know, and you're able to cut closer to the fly when you trim your tippet. I know, you know, a lot of people think it's quicker just to use their teeth, but I find that it smashes the line versus cutting the line, and then it you know, you can't get it quite as close, so you have a longer tag hanging off there, which I don't like. Don't go out and buy the $100 Able nippers. It's ridiculous. You know, honestly, if you're starting out, I would go to the dollar store and grab a pair of dollar store fingernail clippers. You know, that's all you really need. They all cut line the same. I find these Sims ones work pretty good. They're kind of a middle of the road nipper, but yeah, nippers are the next thing on the list. I would definitely have a pair of those. So the next thing on the list is a net. Okay, this one's really important to me. I keep mine behind me. It's on a magnet system and a retractor, so that you can, I can quickly access it, but then I can use the magnet and I can hook it to my bag and keep it kind of out of the way when I'm going through brush. But to me, this is really important because it's better for the fish, right? That you can handle them quicker, you can land them quicker, and you can kind of take your time when you need to get the hook out of their mouth. When you try to take that barbless hook out, you can keep them in the water while you're doing it versus having to try to hold on to that fish and get that hook out. I recommend getting a net like I have that has the rubberized mesh. It keeps your flies from getting stuck in there, and it's better for the fish as well. So that's the next thing on the list that I would say you need is a net. I should add on to that, I'll drop a link below to all these items that I'm talking about today, that, in case you want to run out and buy those, I will throw those down below so you guys can check out the specifics of what I'm using. But it doesn't really matter. This is just the stuff that I have found over time that I like, but you guys can, should make your own informed decisions as well. Okay, the last thing that I want to talk to you guys about is finding a piece of reliable water, okay? And when I say reliable water, I mean either a lake or a river that you can return to over and over and over again as you're learning different techniques. In this case, we want a river or a stream because this is about Euro nymphing, and it's important that you have a place you can return to throughout different seasons of the year so that you can practice and get better and learn new techniques within this specific technique. So get better at different aspects of it. So kind of having that reliable place that you can always return to is really important. Nailing that down and spending time there will help you immensely when you get started Euro nymphing. And I know I said everything would fit in the pack. That one doesn't fit in the pack, but who cares? It's important, it's an essential, and that's reliable water. That's the video for the day. I hope you enjoyed it. The main takeaway is that I used everything that I talked about in the video I used today while I was out on the water catching fish. Hopefully you guys were able to see some of those fish that I got. It was a pretty fun day out there. And if you guys could subscribe, it helps me out a lot to know that you guys are watching and that you like the content I'm putting out. Anyway, I'll see you guys on a video again next week. Until next time, catch some fish.